let's get into the match review. Obviously, Tottenham won 2-1 at home against Leeds yesterday, which was very much a game of two halves. Let's start off with the first half. The way we set up. Do you think that maybe the players or even the manager took it a bit lightly because of the kind of injuries Leeds had in the way we set up in that first half? Or in the way we played our football anyway?
I don't think they took it lightly. I just think they maybe showed them too much respect, if anything. And I think Leeds were... I think we maybe underestimated tactically. Leeds was still on point pretty much throughout that... throughout their first half. They were so aggressive. They were man-to-man throughout the whole first half, especially in the front three. Anytime we played any sort of pass into Son, Kane or Lucas, they were on their backs. They were completely up their arses, like just being really strong.
They played like the Leeds of last season pretty much in that first half.
Yeah, and they were so super aggressive, not letting the attackers get any time on the ball, not letting them turn at all. Lucas, I think, in that first, I'll get him to his performance in the second half, but in the first half, I thought every time the ball was played into him, he was just so easily shoved off and lost the ball and wasn't able to contain it at all. The only person who was able to hang on to it was Harry Kane, and then once he was able to hang on to it and turn, he was either too deep or he just didn't have much support, and that led to him being very isolated. And Leeds were able to pick the ball up and regain possession again, and then they had the majority of possession. They didn't do much of it. They had a couple of pot shots really. From outside the box, which nearly went in, and then but they were the better team in the first half, and they got the goal they probably feel like they deserved right at the end of it.
Yeah. But what do you put it down to? Because obviously Leeds came out 100 miles an hour. They were all over us like a rash. And when you're looking at the lineups, when we were both looking at the lineup before the game when they first came out, we thought we were going to roll this team over, didn't we?
Of course.
Because, you know, Rafinha out, Bamford out, Ayling out, a few other players, Rodrigo out. So what was it down to in the first half? Was it a tactical thing or was it down to effort?
No, I think it was mainly tactical. That's what I think. I don't think it was an effort. I think Spurs were putting in a lot of effort. I could see that when I'm looking on the pitch. But I think tactically we stood off them quite a bit. We were, as Conte said, we were too compact. We were allowing them way too much time on the ball to kind of play around us. And I wouldn't say it was an effort thing, but there was definitely that extra intensity in terms of outrunning Leeds. Leeds were outrunning us in that first half. That definitely contributed to us ceding control of the game, and it all makes a difference when you're being super aggressive and you're winning the ball back and you're winning individual battles, and that gives you control, that allows you a platform to play off. And yesterday in that first half, we weren't doing those things. We kept losing all the individual battles. We weren't able to kind of get any sort of passing moves together and play the ball in between the lines and get the ball forward into the Leeds half. And they were the ones who were nipping in ahead of us, who looked a bit more alert than us in that first half. And it definitely took a half-time team talk from Conte to get into these players because it definitely wasn't good enough.
So what did actually...
Although, what do you think about booing at half-time? Yeah, it's Conte's second game, already starting booing at half-time.
To be honest, I do think the performance wasn't good enough in the first half, and I've got no problem with the fans letting them their feelings known. And I think Conte alluded to it in the press conference, didn't he? He said that the fans weren't happy with the first half performance, and I wasn't happy, and the players weren't happy alike. I mean, I don't think there's a problem with the fans letting them feeling known. I think it gets to a problem when it gets a bit toxic, as in terms of calling for people to go. I think that's when it gets...
Booing used to be reserved for, like, when you're on like a 5-game losing streak.
Yeah, but you know what? This day and age, it's not like that anymore. One half of bad football, and that's what comes out.
And you start booing already.
And and
I just feel like it's Conte's...
We didn't have a shot on target once again. That was like 3 full games of football in a row. So it's like a culmination of that, to be honest.
I guess, but Conte's first home game in charge, first home Premier League game, you thought the fans would, have a bit more patience than just one half. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but let's be honest, the fans were booing, right? But this game was one of the best atmospheres I've been to this season.
It was good.
It was great atmosphere. The fans were giving as much as they were, as much as they booed at the end of the first half. We also powered the team on to win in the second half.
Yeah.
So I don't really have too much problem with that booing at the end of the first half.
Fair enough. All right. What were you about to say before that?
I was about to say, moving on to the second half, right? What do you put the changes down? Do you put it down to the kind of tweaks that Conte made at half time? Do you put it down to kind of Leeds tiring in the second half? Because they were going at 100 miles per hour in that first half, and it was always going to be difficult for them to keep that going throughout the whole 90 minutes.
Yeah, but that's what they're used to, aren't they, Leeds? That's how they play. Been playing like that for a very long time. So I don't know if it's them tiring. I just think we put in those extra inches which make all the difference. And you saw, I think there's what's it called? I liked a tweet actually yesterday. Maybe we can bring it up. Where is it? This one. Can we bring this up? Are you there? Can you see me?
Blank.
It's blank. Oh, sorry, one sec. There you go. One sec. Let's just bring... Yeah, why not? Can you see that on screen? That's what the graphic was yesterday. The difference
Finally,
in the
shots
second.
on target. Look at that, 4 in one half.
Exactly. Never seen anything like it. Hit the ball 3 times. But I think, the most important one, outran Leeds by an extra 3 kilometres in that second half than we did in the first half. And that was probably key to really gaining control of the game, because it meant we can pen them in, and we could hound them, as opposed to in the first half we were just allowing them too much control. We were allowing them to have the ball and play around a bit too much, and it was difficult to get the ball off them. But as soon as we started stepping up, being more aggressive ourselves, winning the ball back in better spaces, and it became very, very difficult for then Leeds to gain control of possession, and it became very easy for us. Not easy, but it became very much more achievable for us to sustain attacks. And it wasn't just like it didn't just become us attacking and then Leeds getting forward and having spelled possession. It became us attacking and then penning them in. And once we did get that goal, it did seem, even from the beginning of the second half, it seemed like a matter of time before we were going to equalise.
Definitely. I mean, it seemed as though there was just a complete different vibe about the team in that second half as soon as they came out. And, you could tell that on the kind of maybe individual performances as well, because I thought Winks had a pretty poor first half and then massively grew into the game in that second half. I thought Højbjerg, maybe just a bit to a lesser extent, had a very poor first half and grew into the game a tad bit more in that second half. Obviously got that goal. I thought Reguilon as well, amazing in that second half. And there were a lot of performances out there, where it was just Jekyll and Hyde, wasn't it, from first half to second half?
Yeah, it was. I think for the whole team pretty much, but I think Lucas Moura for me was the biggest one, because I thought first half he was really wasteful and really struggled to hang on to the ball, wasn't able to turn at all. I thought he gave the ball away so often in that first half, just with miscontrols and things like that. But the second half, he was still a bit rough, but he was involved in everything that was good about our performance in the second half. He was the one who slipped Harry Kane through for when he hit the post. He was the one who did a lovely lofted through ball to Son when he hit the crossbar. He won the free kick for the goal. He obviously set up Højbjerg for his goal as well. So he was literally in the hub of of all the main things we were doing good in the second half, and he completely switched his performance from the first half, where he was completely wasteful and unthreatening.
Yeah, definitely. I thought he had, like you said, involved in everything. And another player that was involved in both goals was Reguilon. Obviously, Reguilon gets the goal, first goal for Tottenham. That celebration was absolutely brilliant. The passion that he showed. And I don't know if you saw his post-match interviews as well. I mean, he was just knackered after that game. He was absolutely knackered. And the interesting things he was saying was like, after speaking to Conte and like seeing Conte's passion, he goes to sleep dreaming about football, thinking about his positioning on the pitch and stuff like that. And it's just the infectious kind of thinking that Conte breathes onto the squad, doesn't he?
It's infectious on the stand. You can see it. You know, the fans can see it. The fans feed off it, and that passion is second to none from Antonio Conte. It's night and day. What we literally just had with Nuno, who just very, very pensive, just watching on the touchline, doesn't shout anything.
I mean, there hasn't been a more passionate manager ever at Tottenham, probably.
Yeah, probably in the Premier League, let alone at Tottenham. Like, he is the most passionate man you'll ever care to meet, and it's infectious, and it rubs off on everyone, and everyone wants to get involved and add energy to that, and it's easy to feed off that energy that Conte gives,
especially when he's turning around to the fans.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on! I love that.
It was amazing.
Absolutely love that, and the fans just went wild after that, didn't they?
Exactly, and he knows how to G up a crowd, and he's kind of like he's like the number one fan on the touchline. You know what I mean? If he's setting the tone, it's you know, everyone's got to follow.
Yeah.
And then you got obviously when you have the players there and they're following his lead, he's under his stewardship. They're his soldiers. And you see that kind of passion. He's like on the front line even at a point. I don't know how he keeps up for 90 minutes. He needs fitness just as much as the bloody players to keep up that night for 90 minutes, shouting
definitely.
and screaming and passion and directing everyone here, there, and everywhere. And it's delightful as a Spurs fan, like wanting that kind of energy and passion from your manager. Like, it's just, I'm so happy to see that on the touchline, and it's a delight. It really is.
You know what I mean? Because there's been a lack of passion in this side for a long time now.
In
There's
this
been
club.
Complete lack of passion in this club, in the stands, on the pitch, on the sidelines of the pitch. And it's just so good to see all that passion, you know, on the pitch, on the sidelines, in the stands. But back on Reguilon, you know, like you said, with Moura involved in both the goals. So was Reguilon. He got on the end of that free kick after it hit the post, and he got that cross in that found its way to Lucas Moura. How much do you credit Reguilon for the way he's kind of stepped up this season?
Well, this is off the back of one of his worst performances ever against Everton, so it's only one, you know what I mean? It was a terrible
but
game,
on a whole, he's been very good this season. He's created the most chance out of any fullback in the league.
Has he?
Yeah.
That can't be right.
It is right.
No, it can't. He's
I
not
saw the stat yesterday.
No. Reguilon has not created more chances than Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Well, read the stats.
No chance. I don't believe that for a second.
Okay.
I do not believe. No, how has Reguilon created more chances than Trent?
Let me see if I can find the stat.
No way. I can't be. You must have misread something. That can't be right. That can't be right.
If I can find the stat.
I'm happy to be proved wrong, but I can't be right. I find that very hard to believe that Reguilon's created more chances than Alexander-Arnold.
I can't remember. I can't find the. I thought I liked it or saved it, but there was a little Sky Sports.
If you liked it, it'll be on likes.
I thought I did, but it's not there. But either way, he's having a brilliant season, in my opinion.
No, he's having a good season, and he's only going to improve under Conte. He's going to be a massive, massive player. And I think yesterday in the second half, if you look at our average positioning, he's pretty much like a left winger. He's not even a left back. That's what he is in this system. And he has to run double as much. That's what he said, and it's going to take some getting used to.
Maybe it was in like the last 5 games or something like that. Maybe it wasn't all season. I think it maybe in the last 5 games or something.
Okay, that's more believable because Trent has been a machine this season.
Trent's got 6 assists this season. Regulon's got 2 or 3. So I think it's been in the last 5 games. I think that's what the stat was.
But he's going to be a massive player for us, and we know when Spurs invested in him last season, 27 million, that a young fullback, that it wasn't always going to be plain sailing. But I think Reguilon, in terms of his quality, we've always said that we can see the quality in him in terms of his final ball. I think he's got a good final ball when you give him the opportunity. And I think that dribbling-wise, pace-wise, he's pretty solid, he's pretty strong. Could do better when beating his man and taking on his man a bit more often. But he'll learn to do that under Conte. And it's very important for him to get his first goal because he's going to need to improve his final output if he's going to be the mainstay in the team. And which look, he's always assessing on coming off the bench, having a decent cameo. He's going to want to provide a bit of competition. So hopefully that healthy competition drives both of those players on, because they're both really perfect for that role at left wing back. And I think Reguilon, it's going to be vital for us throughout the season for that position. And him and Emerson, both of them are going to be very, very crucial to how we play. And if they can dominate their areas, then we're going to be very hard to stop with Son, Kane, and Lucas in the centre, where the crosses into the box. When all three of them, it's much better that way than Son crossing it into to just Kane. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, we're getting options in the box. They're getting things for the defenders to think about, and it leads to chaos.
Centre-backs.
Leads to chaos, like the goal. You saw the goal. Reguilon crossed the ball in, and Kane and Son are causing chaos, and it's harder to defend against. Rather than it feels like Son crossing it in would have been a lot more easier to deal with who was in the box.
Another player who I think deserves a lot of praise at the moment is Eric Dyer. I thought Eric Dyer was an absolute wall yesterday. Much improved performances, no lapses of concentration. And the thing is with Eric Dyer, there seems to be an air of confidence about him at the moment. There really does. He's playing with confidence. He's playing with his head up. And I'm just loving what I'm seeing from Eric Dyer at the moment. Let's hope it just continues. But what was your kind of assessment on his performance yesterday?
Yeah, I thought he played well as well. I think he didn't put a foot wrong. I thought he's playing I think in the first half he played a bit too much like a quarterback, because I felt like we were pushed way too deep, and we weren't able to play through the lines. But I did think he's playing a lot more risky passing. His passing has been also a bit improved. I remember a really lovely lofted through ball into Ben Davis, who nearly scored in the second half, and I think he's not scared from his position to play the ball straight into feet into Kane and Son and Lucas. Has definitely been an instruction. I can definitely see that. And the passes he's been doing are pretty solid, actually. On the flip side, I know going forward, Leeds didn't have too many options, so it wasn't going to be his most difficult day, and from that aspect, because they didn't really have Rafinha or Bamford or anyone to really combat him. But he dominated in the centre, absolutely dominated, and didn't give the lead striker any sort of encouragement throughout the game. And I thought most of the crosses that came in as well, he was dealing with that really effectively. And it was a very confident performance from Eric Dyer, but he's going to have bigger tests.
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely true. I mean, this was a Leeds side with no strikers.
Exactly.
No strikers and no Rafinha either. So
it's going to be it's hard to judge, really. It's hard to judge too much, make too many conclusions from yesterday, only because of the injuries that Leeds had. Who knows what would have happened if they did have a full team out, if it would have been a different story. But I know it was great to win and great to come back, but the fact we made it so hard for ourselves, you've got to question that as well. So it's hard to make too many sweeping judgments just from the game yesterday.
Yeah, and when you're looking at our next three games, Burnley away, Brentford at home, Norwich at home, surely we have to be looking at maximum points from these games. Surely.
Of course. You'd be very disappointed if you dropped any points in those games.
Because then after that, we've got quite a hard run, actually. We've got Brighton away, Leicester away, and then Liverpool at home. And then Palace at home. So, I mean, we need to get these maximum points in these next three games.